Dusk. A day almost done. A day like any other day, but soon to be a night like nowhere else in the world. For this is Africa, home to the greatest of creatures, the largest, the most massive. And at dusk, as the sun dips below the horizon, much of Africa awakens and begins to move. Because all creatures, great and small, are instinctively aware that night is coming. And here, when the moon rises, there are only two kinds of creatures: those that survive and those that do not. The hunted and the hunters, including the least noble and the most noble of all, the lion. Lord of the jungle, king of beasts, fearing nothing in the night, ruling over the darkness, the primeval black rain. Much like the reign of the Linn-Mar Lions, the 1990 Linn-Mar Lions. Beginning with the seniors, Letterman all, defending Iowa 4A state champions, but hearing all summer how that reign will soon end. Starting in the Mississippi Valley Conference, because Kennedy is too big, Wahlert too strong, Jefferson too explosive, City High has too much tradition, and Washington is back. Hearing that no team with as few as 45 able players, many playing both ways, can hope to withstand the weekly toll exacted by unquestionably the toughest conference in the state of Iowa. And even Linn-Mar can't survive the graduation loss of 5 all-staters. Of course, in public, the Valley coaches extol the Lions, even tab them the favorite. And the statewide pollsters nominate the Lions as the preseason #1, while at the same time predicting a wide-open race for the 4A title. But the seniors are having no part of that. After all, entering the 1990 season, their combined freshman, sophomore, and varsity record stands at an impressive 37 wins and only 4 losses, with 2 of those losses occurring as sophomores, after mainstays Rice and Mulherrin had been elevated to starting varsity positions. Plus, the seniors are to be joined by a talented group of juniors, undefeated conference champions as sophomores, still without 200-yard-per-game rusher Ryan Lane, out for the 90 season with a knee injury, but with many ready to contribute, some soon. Even the coaching staff appears to be its strongest in years, again headed by 2-time 4A State Coach of the Year, Greg Purnell, with championship-tested Max Huffman returning as defensive coordinator, innovative Mark Ehlers back to guide the offense, the technician, Norm Northup, again mentoring the offensive line, the motivator, Phil Katz, handling the injuries and the defensive ends, and fiery volunteer Herb Anderson leading the special teams and butt nugget squad. Yes, the Lions are confident, as they should be, as champions should be. They're special, they know it, and now it's time to prove it again, against the biggest and the best that the state of Iowa can throw against them. It all starts early, with an August 30th opener away from home, and against a team which figures to be a formidable foe, Dubuque Hempstead, twice losers to Linn-Mar in 1989, including the first round of the state playoffs. In 1990, Coach Bob Timmerman's squad features bruising 225-pound fullback Mike Lewis, along with number 35 tailback Jason Plotner, a speedster who averaged 9 yards per carry a year ago. No easy opener, this. but nonetheless finally time to strap it on. And strap it on the Lions do. The Lions, decked in their road whites, get the ball first. And here it's number 40, senior Mick Mulherron, bursting up the middle and powering all the way out to the Lion 46. Hempstead holds, however, and the Lions go on defense. Here the Mustangs option right, but Mulherron slashes through to dump Plotner for a loss and force a Hempstead punt. The last time Mick handled a punt on Dalzell Field, he returned it for a touchdown against these very same Mustangs. Well, it's deja vu as he fields this low-line drive, fakes the reverse, breaks outside and down the sideline, picking up blocks all the way before cutting back and pulling away on a 76-yard touchdown gallop. The kick is blocked, but the Lions quickly force a Hempstead turnover and take over just inside Mustang territory. Here number 22, senior Jason Malloy, follows Jeff Watts and junior Aaron Strong for 14 yards to the Hempstead 30. 2 plays later, it's Malloy again, as seniors Eric Drobny and Jason Rowe clear the way. And eschewing the run, the Lions fake left, but junior quarterback Ryan Driscoll comes back right and spots a wide-open Sean Rice running free at the 5, and the big tight end does the rest. Coach Greg Purnell opts to go for 2, and here Mulherron demonstrates his 7-foot high-jumping prowess as he vaults in to extend the Lion lead to 14-0. Early in the second quarter, Hempstead drives to the Lion 30, but on 4th down, junior defensive end Jason Fedderson pours through to record his second quarterback sack of the game. The Lions waste no time roaring back as Mick Mulherron starts up the middle behind Drobny and Mike Reams, then jukes and spins his way for 18 yards. 3 plays later from the Hempstead 41, Driscoll bootlegs left and finds senior split end Chad Rubinow wide open at the Mustang 22. After a penalty sets the Lions back, Driscoll again drops back to pass. Mulherron slips out of the backfield, latches on, and gains back 10 yards before going out of bounds. On 3rd and long, Driscoll again airs it out. Here he rolls right, gets help from Malloy, and lofts to Rubinow, who makes this acrobatic grab for a Lion first down. And on 2nd and goal from the 9, Ryan rolls right and fires a strike to Rice, and big number 88 leans in for the score. With Chris Perry holding, Shane Haler comes on for the conversion. He doesn't get it all, but he gets enough as the Lions take a 21-0 lead into the locker room. Early in the second half, the Lions are on the prowl again. From the Lion 35, Driscoll drops straight back behind tackle Josh Haight and hooks up with a wide-open Rubinow for 15 yards to midfield. 2 plays later from the Hempstead 42, Driscoll bootlegs right and ropes to Rice all alone on the sideline for another Lion first down. From there, and with Hempstead king on the M&M boys, wingback Sarsfield counters back against Flo and squeezes through the hole, cuts in, cuts out, and finally cuts back, escaping on a dazzling 26-yard touchdown jaunt. Haler comes on to attempt the conversion and drills it through to make the score Linn-Mar 28, Hempstead nothing. With that, the reserves take over, and a whole pride of Lions, including newcomers Rob Merschbrock, Brian Stapley, and Jeff Gilchrist, combine to keep Hempstead off the scoreboard, as the Lions go on to prevail by the score of 28-0. An impressive win for Linn-Mar, the worst defeat of Hempstead coach Bob Timmerman's career, at the hands of his pupil, Greg Purnell. And stars aplenty for the Lions. 169 all-purpose yards for Mick Mulherron. 2 touchdown catches by Rice. 60% passing by Driscoll in his varsity debut. And a defense that limits the Mustangs to barely 80 yards on 37 rushing attempts. A performance that leads Timmerman to later say, if Linn-Mar can beat Kennedy, then it's going to be a wild scene for second place in the conference. Quite a prediction after 1 week of play. With one win under their belt, the Lions return to Armstrong Field on September 7th for what figures to be their toughest home opener in years, maybe ever. Crosstown rival Cedar Rapids Kennedy has been picked by Valley coaches as the team most likely to challenge the Lions for the conference crown. Coach Don Knox's squad has size that would have most college coaches drooling. 23 players over 200 pounds. Mammoth 290-pound Jamie Parker on the nose. An offensive line averaging 255 across the front. Offensively featuring 235-pound fullback Rob Posicani. Slashing tailback Joe Garino. And multi-talented wide receiver number 43, Brad Muskimen. The whole state will be watching. Local scribes predict a classic matchup of size versus speed. The Lions don't much care because they believe it's toughness that will eventually determine the outcome. The intensity starts early, outside the locker room in pregame, when Mick Mulheron reminds the Lions about the summertime talk and one place it came from.
Try to tell us who the studs are. Let's show them who the studs are. Sick of them listening to them tell us. Let's show them, man.
Key to it is stay intense. You get on top of somebody, stay on top of them.
And the intensity builds higher as the Lions come onto their own field for the first time in 1990 to be greeted by a sellout crowd of over 4,000 fans. It continues as team captains Jason Malloy, Mick Mulhern, and Jeff Watts, and game captain Chad Rubinow make their way to the center of the field to meet the rival captains.
Right now.
Punctuated by a Jeff Watts love tap, the first of many he will deliver this evening.
Bob Olnick over here. He's the umpire, and I'm Jack Bowler.
But now it's time for football. As Kennedy kicks off from south to north, and Mick Mulheron returns from inside the 10 out to the Lion 33. Neither team can drive the ball, and when the scoring ice is broken, it's on a big play. A big play by the Kennedy Cougars. On 2nd and 7 from the Cougar 44, halfback Joe Garino starts up the middle, eludes a tackle, gets outside, and sprints 56 yards down a friendly sideline as Kennedy draws first blood. The Lions block the conversion, but they're wounded, and they'll fight back. Here, Ira Marsh starts the rally as he fields the ball on the 22 and blasts out to the Linn-Mar 40. On first down, Ryan Driscoll comes out left and locates Chad Rubinow for a 13-yard pickup. Then it's Mick Mulheron turning the corner for 6 and shaking off a late hit along the way. And on 2nd and 4 from the Kennedy 42, Driscoll looks first to Rubinow, then lofts perfectly to Sarsfield, and the varsity veteran sprints untouched into the Cougar end zone to tie the score. Shane Haler comes on to attempt the conversion. Chris Perry holds, the kick is up, and through the uprights as the Lions take a 7-6 lead. Both teams turn the ball over in the second quarter. Linn-Mar twice inside the Cougar 10. At the half, the Lions lead 7-6. But early in the third quarter, Kennedy Lightning strikes again. With 2nd and 9 from the Cougar 49, halfback Willie Brunner takes the pitch and motors around right in, then cuts back once again, and then finally outraces the Lion pursuit to go in for a 51-yard touchdown to put the Cougars back on top. Kennedy goes for 2 and makes it good on this halfback pass from Mike Morrison to Brad Muskimen. 14-7, Kennedy. After a Lion drive stalls, the Cougars again have the ball, but this time on their own 20, and not for long. On first down, nose guard Jeff Watts storms up the middle, forcing this fumble recovered by cornerback Sarsfield. It's his second fumble recovery of the evening. The Lions go on the attack from the Cougar 18. First, it's Malloy sweeping left for 9 yards to the Kennedy 9. And on 2nd and 1, Jason starts right, then cuts back behind a big block from Josh Haight and prances in to bring the Lions within 1. And one more time as the Lions sideline sees it. Chris Perry brings down a high snap, and Haler drills it through to tie the score, 14-14. Late in the third quarter, the Lions come within a shoestring of scoring again. Kennedy's Brad Muskimin punts from his own 30. Mulherron takes it on the 25, eludes one tackle, and heads upfield, dodging and spinning until he's finally brought down on a shoestring tackle by Muskimin. Penalties stall the drive, however, and the score is deadlocked 14-14 as the teams exchange goals at the end of 3 quarters. But it's Linn-Mar's football. And starting from the Lion 39, Driscoll bootlegs left, looks left, and then rifles to Rice, who bulls forward to complete a 21-yard pass and run. After picking up 1 first down, the Lions face a 3rd and 9 from the Cougar 26. Mick takes the handoff, cuts behind Sarsfield, gets outside, and carries tacklers down to the Kennedy 11. 2 plays gain only 3 yards. It's 3rd and 8. That's Mulherron time. And time to see and hear what Kennedy sees and hears. Haler comes on to convert and drives it squarely between the posts to extend the Lion lead to 21-14. With Kennedy minus a passing attack, it doesn't take the Lions long to get the ball back. On first down near midfield, Rice, Watts, and Rowe open a big hole for Mulherron as he blasts all the way down to the Cougar 20. From there, it's number 22, Jason Malloy, barreling off tackle for 15 yards behind Watts, Rowe, and Mulherron. And on first and goal, it's Jason again, surging behind Drobny, Haight, and Sarsfield to tally the Lions' 27th point. Haler comes on to add the icing on the cake, and the Lions go up 28-14. Kennedy attempts to mount one more drive, but senior safety Steve Mahacek flashes in front for the interception to put the last nail in the Cougar coffin. And in the stand, the Linn-Mar students celebrate a thrilling 28-14 victory. A hard-fought win, and a well-earned one, coming from behind twice against what will prove to be one of the top teams in the state. Stellar performances all around. The M and M boys both over 100 yards rushing. Driscoll over 160 passing. Chad Sarsfield with clutch catches and 2 big fumble recoveries. And the Lion defense taking control in the second half, allowing Kennedy only 3 first downs. As Cougar coach Don Knock later says from the locker room, you can't have your defense on the field all night and expect to win. Obvious and accurate. But Kennedy will have a second chance. It will not get any easier in week 3 of this young season. On September 14th, the top-rated Lions are again at home, this time facing a Dubuque Wahlert team that only a year ago pushed Linn-Mar into overtime before finally succumbing in a classic defensive struggle. If Kennedy is the biggest team in the Valley, Wahlert is surely the strongest, with the biggest and strongest of all, number 77, 6'8", 300-pound Division I prospect, Brett Blocklinger. And Coach Mike Cooper has geared his offense to feature the talents of one of the Valley's toughest runners, number 99, 200-pound fullback, Eric Metz. Some pundits say if the Lions get through this game with record intact, they'll have justified their number 1 ranking. But the only getting through the Lions are interested in is the hoop, which welcomes them onto Armstrong Field. Then it's Lions captains Malloy, Mulherron, and Watts, along with game captain Jason Rowe, moving to the center of the field for the toss of the coin. The Golden Eagles win the toss but defer, which means Linn-Mar will get the ball first. Neither team could move the ball early, but midway through the first quarter, the Lions start a drive. On second down from the Linn-Mar 36, Mulherron motions the short side, but Malloy breaks off Drobny, Rowe, and Watts, slips outside behind Rubinau's screen, and maneuvers down the sideline, finally carrying tacklers the last 10 yards of a 44-yard sortie. On 1st and 10 from the Golden Eagle 20, Driscoll bootlegs right and fires across field to Rubinau, who makes a lunging grab on the Wahlert 6. On 1st and goal, the pitch goes wide to Mulherron. Rice screens the end, Watts buries the safety, and Mick high steps in virtually untouched to open the scoring. Haler's kick is good, and the Lions take a quick 7-0 lead. After a long kickoff runback, the Golden Eagles attempt to move the ball through the air. But on second down, quarterback Brian Howes is blitzed by linebacker Shane Haler, and his off-balance throw is picked off by Rubinau, who returns it to the Wahlert 45. From there, the Lions go nowhere on 2 plays. But on 3rd and 10, Driscoll drops straight back. Mulherron sneaks through the line, makes 2 tacklers miss, gets blocks from Sarsfield and Rubinau, and it's off to the races on a 45-yard touchdown gallop. From another angle, watch the play set up, and then watch Mick shake and bake as he leaves at least 4 Golden Eagles grounded and sprints in untouched, the Lions' second score. Haler's conversion extends the Lions' lead to 14-0, and the first quarter comes to an end. Entering the second quarter, Coach Max Huffman's defense remains in control. On second down inside their own 10, Wahlert sweeps left, briefly, as Haight, Haler, and Mulherron combine to drop Eric Metz for a loss. And the Lion defense continues to dominate second quarter play as the Lions take their 14-0 lead into the locker room at halftime. Beginning the second half, Wahlert goes nowhere early as they try the Lion middle and are thrown back by Jeff Watts, Junior Ira Marsh, and a whole host of Lion defenders. 2 plays later, a short punt puts the Lions in business at the Wahlert 43. On first down, Sarsfield motions back to the wide side, but Driscoll hands up the middle to Mulherron. Watts traps Blocklinger, and Mick breaks free down the sideline, opening up distance as he makes his way 43 yards to pay dirt. Then the Linn-Mar special teams get a chance to shine. Haler drives a kickoff to the Wahlert 15, and junior George Panache gets down first to make the big hit, and Steve Mahacek finishes it off. Later, the Lion reserves take over as DJ Panache, Todd Damon, and Brian Hughes combine on this stop. As the seconds tick down, the band knows the game is under control. And so do the Lion cheerleaders. And even Coach Ehlers in the press box can finally take it easy as the Lions cruise in for a solid win over his alma mater. A 20-7 victory in a game not as close as the final score. The Golden Eagles only managed to cross midfield twice in 48 minutes. Eric Metz, averaging 120 rushing yards per game coming in, totals only 63, and most of those late. Mick Mulherron leads the Lion effort with 126 yards on the ground and all 3 touchdowns. But as in games 1 and 2, the entire squad contributes, as they will all season. Tied for the lead in the Valley with Cedar Rapids Jefferson and firmly atop the state rankings, the Lions travel down I-380 on September 21st to encounter an enigmatic Cedar Rapids Prairie squad. The Craig Jelinek-coached Prairie Hawks are winless, but not without teeth, particularly with 6'6" quarterback Mike Kleppe, the 4th-ranked quarterback in the Valley, directing a diversified attack featuring the rushing of number 34, speedster Matt Hatcher. Records can usually be thrown out of the window in this rivalry. Schools much the same, farm and city coming together. Players stronger than most, tougher than most, and best watched from where the players watch, ground level, low, where the action is. The Prairie crowd arrives early. For a game at Prairie, it's a surprisingly balmy September night. The Linn-Mar team comes onto the field, and across the way, the Prairie captains make ready. The Lion cheerleaders and mascot are up and active early. The Lions go up just under 3 minutes into the game on a 52-yard touchdown strike from Driscoll to Sarsfield, unfortunately missed by the camera. Shane Healer comes on, Perry holds, and Linn-Mar goes on top, 7-0. Moments later, the Lions are driving again. Here Drobny and Scott Baker blast open a big hole for Mulherrin, and the shifty senior picks up 12. The Lions stay on the ground to drive deep into Prairie Hawk territory. And here Driscoll keeps it himself as Baker, Haight, and Rubinell spring him to the outside and free on a 17-yard touchdown jump. The Lion defense halts the Prairie Hawks again, but now must start a drive from deep in their own territory. That doesn't take long as Driscoll steps back and loops to Rice, who pulls down the rebound for a 9-yard gain. Early in the second quarter, the Lions are still driving. Here Malloy motions. Mulherrin takes the pitch, spins away, and heads for the outside, picking up 6 yards before finally being driven out. And moments later, Hogs right. Watson Haight root out a hole, and Malloy surges in for 6 as the Lions take a 19-0 lead. Still later in the second quarter, the Lions get on the board again as a well-disguised draw play fakes out Prairie and the cameraman as Mick Mulherrin cruises in from 35 yards out to increase the Linn-Mar lead. Sophomore Eric George comes on for the conversion and drives it home for a 26-0 Lion lead. George then kicks off high and deep to the Prairie 10, and number 64 junior George Panache flies downfield to nail Matt Hatcher inside the 20. But Prairie moves downfield and finally threatens to score. Here Kleppe straightens up, hits Eric Smith, who heads outside, but Malloy strips and linebacker Ira Marsh recovers for the touchback. And it doesn't take the Lions long to bring the ball back the other way. Here Driscoll stands up, goes quick to Feddersen, and big number 8 sets sail upfield on a 43-yard pass and run with a piling on penalty tacked on at the end. Sean Rice comes in for Feddersen, and Driscoll again looks to the tight end, and a Linn-Mar 1st and goal. And finally, out of a double tight end set, Driscoll bootlegs right and spots Rice nestled in the back of the end zone for the 5th Lion score. Eric George's conversion lengthens the Linn-Mar lead to 33-0, and that will be the score at the halftime break. Prairie finally gets on the scoreboard midway through the 3rd period as Jeff Hupfer burrows in for the score. But the Lions have one more up their sleeve as here Eric Nedelecki, Feddersen, and Marsh open the hole for senior Scott Blackford, and Blackie blasts in from 9 yards out to up the Lion lead. What a fitting way to end this player's eye view of the annual Linn-Mar Prairie Gridiron War. A big 40-13 win for the Lions, one that could have been much bigger, and with other coaches would have. But Coach Purnell has to be pleased with the play of his Lions. Driscoll passing for 2 touchdowns and running for 1. Mulherrin over 100 yards rushing in just 6 carries. Malloy punishing the Prairie Hawks on both offense and defense. And juniors who must contribute later, like Matt Mitchell, John Stambaugh, and Eric Keating, getting valuable playing and learning time. But early the next week, the coach will not be so pleased. For he will learn that veteran senior guards Mike Reams and Scott Baker will be lost indefinitely with knee and shoulder injuries, respectively. Reams will miss 4 games, but Baker, braced and harnessed, will not return until midway through the playoffs, which means that junior guards Jeff Huber and Aaron Strong must pick up the slack. That they will do. On September 28th, the Linn-Mar Lions returned to Armstrong Field to host the always tough Dubuque Senior Rams. Senior, which suffered close losses early to Kennedy and Wahlert, may be the most improved team in the conference. The Rams feature number 49, super quick running back Mike Francois, currently averaging over 100 yards rushing per game, plus a hard-charging defense allowing fewer than 12 points per outing. Around the Valley, this game is touted as the upset special of the week. The Lions expect to be tested, but perhaps not quite so soon or for so long. Number 30, Scott Blackford, joins team captains Mulhern, Malloy, and Watts as they meet senior co-captains Scott Brock and Brian Brown. The Lions win the toss and will receive at the south end of the field. But the Rams get a big break as the Lions mishandle the kickoff, and 2 plays later, Senior is inside the Lion 5. From there, quarterback Randy Weber hands to Scott Brock, who scores easily as the Rams jump out 6-0 with just over a minute of playing time elapsed. The conversion makes the score 7-0 Senior. Senior goes on to dominate the first quarter, and here they're back inside the Lion 10 with 1st and goal at the 6. But Weber's pitch is bobbled by Francois, and Casey Mulhern pounces on the loose ball to end the Senior threat. Early in the second quarter, the Lions finally go on the prowl. Here Ryan Driscoll keeps the ball himself and lugs it for a 1st down across midfield to the Ram 45. On 3rd and 7 from the 42, Driscoll drops straight back, gets good protection, and flips to Mulhern, who gets to the sideline, cuts back against the grain, leaps over one tackler, and drives forward to the Senior 6 for a 32-yard gain. And 3 plays later, it's Jason Malloy slanting in behind Hogg's left, Jeff Watts, and Josh Haight. The Lions are finally on the scoreboard and tied following Haler's conversion. Senior again drives downfield, and here on 4th and goal from the Lion 2, quarterback Weber rolls right and looks to the end zone, but doesn't reckon on Sarsfield as the Senior steps in front to stop Senior's final effort of the first half. The halftime score is a surprising one, except to those who predicted a Senior upset. The Rams have played well, but there are still 2 quarters left to play. The Lions get the ball back early in the second half, but deep in their own territory at the 20. That makes no difference to offensive coordinator Mark Ehlers as he decides to open it up. Here Driscoll goes up top to Rubinow for 16 yards. 2 plays later from the Lion 44, Sarsfield comes to the wide side, but it's Malloy up the middle behind Drobny, Strong, and Haight, breaking back left and barreling through 3 defenders en route to a 56-yard go-ahead touchdown. Haler's conversion extends the Lion lead to a hardly safe 14-7. The quarter ends with Senior again driving, having recovered a Lion fumble inside the Linn-Mar 40. The specter of an upset looms large. And on 2nd and goal from the Lion 9, it looms larger as quarterback Weber rolls left and seeks out Tim Speltz in the seam between 2 Lion defenders. A missed extra point makes the score Linn-Mar 14, Senior 13. But the Lions waste no time in coming back. As Senior lines up to kick off, the Lions receiving team gets ready. The kick goes deep to Malloy, and he follows the wedge and the blocks all the way back to the Senior 47. And 12 plays later, the Lions culminate a methodical scoring drive as Jason Malloy plows off tackle and into the end zone behind Watts, Rice, and Mulhern. Haler adds the extra point, and the Lions lead by 8, 21-13. The Rams attempt to get back in the game, but on this 2nd and 7 play, a blitzing Malloy deflects the Weber pass, and in Casey Mulhern snatches it out of the air and rambles 39 yards for the final Lion touchdown. The Lions give up a meaningless score later, but the Linn-Mar reserves, sparked by Jeff Broughton, Joe Paulus, and Mark Mikola, run out the clock as Linn-Mar goes on to a hard-fought 28-13 win. The statistics will indicate that the Lions should have won by a greater margin. 226 yards rushing to only 50 for the Rams. almost twice the passing yardage. But 3 fumbles and 6 costly penalties have kept the game close, at least until the 4th quarter, which the Lions have again owned. A big night for Jason Malloy, 125 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and the deflected pass leading to Casey Mulheron's score. Mick Mulheron has 136 all-purpose yards, and Driscoll goes 10 for 17, including 5 to Rubinow. Not the Lions' best game, but likely a game with lessons learned, and with frustrations to be taken out, perhaps as early as the following week. On October 5th, Coach Wally Sheets' 2-3 Washington Warriors traveled to Marion to try out the top-rated Lions, now riding a 10-game winning streak. The Warriors boast a potent passing attack orchestrated by 1989 phenom Derek Fulton. And on the receiving end, the Lions must contend with cat-quick Tyson Schweiger, who tallied a 95-yard touchdown against the Lions a year ago. But this is also the same Washington that waged a war of words up and down First Avenue much of the summer. For the Lions, talking time is over. It's time to play football. When the Lions come onto the field, they're sky high. And Coach Herb Anderson makes sure they stay that way. After all, this is Washington. When the captains meet in the center of the field, Mulheron, Malloy, Watts, and Eric Drobny represent the Lions. And it doesn't take the Lions long to go on the hunt, as here on 1st and 10 from their own 18, Mulheron sweeps right and zeroes in on the cameraman.
Easy, fellas, easy, easy.
Still in the first quarter, with the Lions driving at the Wash 26, Driscoll bootlegs left, sees an opening, eludes a tackler, cuts back right, and ambles on down to the Warrior 12. From there on first down, Malloy drives behind Rowe, Drobny, and Jeff Huber, bouncing off tacklers and in for the first Lion score of the evening. Shane Haler comes on to attempt the extra point, and he lights up the scoreboard as the Lions move out to a 7-0 lead. With 9:55 remaining in the half, the Lions face third down from their own 30. Driscoll drops straight back, looks over the defense, and locates Mulheron across the middle. Then Mick motors on down the sideline for 30 big yards. But the drive stalls, and the Lion defense comes on to get the ball back. Here juniors Jeff Huber and Matt Jones join Jeff Watts in a formidable front. And on the snap, it's Mulheron up the middle on the safety blitz as Fulton goes down. A short punt gives the Lions good field position on the Wash 48. And on first down, it's Malloy knifing up the middle behind Haight, Strong, and Mulheron, gets a screen from Rubinow, and then prances in on a 48-yard scoring scamper. Now from a fan's eye view with sound. Haler drills the extra point squarely between the uprights, and the Lions jump out to a 14-0 lead. Then with Washington driving, it's takeaway time as Fulton rolls right, looks to the end zone, but Rubinow plays the ball perfectly, intercepts, and brings it back out to the Lion 10. And several plays later, from the Lion 27, it's Mulheron to the outside behind Rowe and Malloy, turning the corner and sprinting down the sideline before finally being pulled down by the face mask on the Washington 33. With time running out in the half, Driscoll drops back, waits for the middle to clear, and finds Rubinow on a crossing pattern to the Wash 6. And on the last play of the half, Shane Haler comes on to attempt a 26-yard field goal. The ball is down, the kick is up, and it's good. And at the half, the Lions lead 17-0. And despite that lead, there are still adjustments to make at halftime.
Be ready for eye right, 39 on the hash coming back, okay? We haven't run a bootleg yet. Be ready for a bootleg. 18 and 19 option are there. We're kind of holding back yet. We might use it now in the second half. 26 and 27. Be ready for 26 and 27. Also, on the 70s, a lot of times we're doubling up Sean. We're going to do some drag patterns where Sean takes about 3 guys with him and we run our high. That's how Mickey broke the long one.
Play the defense as called. Don't worry about 30. Don't worry about shotgun. Don't worry about one back. Don't worry about Roger Louis. We're going to play hard-nosed football and play the game to win. Okay? We're playing what's called. Yes. That's normal. Okay? Normal defense. Forget about 30D, Roger and Louis, all that crap.
The Lion adjustments pay off, and quickly. On Linn-Mar's first offensive play of the second half, from their own 35-yard line, Driscoll options left, then pitches to Mulhern, who gets big blocks from Rice and Malloy. Then it's one-on-one, which is a mismatch, as Mick cuts back right and then pulls away on his way to a 65-yard touchdown romp. Washington can't move the football, and trailing 24-0 is forced to punt. That's always dangerous, because back deep is always Mulhern. Here he fields on the 16, fakes a reverse, and then cuts straight upfield, bouncing off tacklers and driving all the way out to the Lion 41. But penalties stop the drive, and a Shane Haler punt pins the Warriors deep. Here on 3rd down from the 15, Fulton drops back, but Josh Haight crashes through to tip the ball, and Sean Rice stretches to bring it down on the Washington 6. From there, it only takes one play, as Driscoll rolls right, leads Rice to the corner, and the big tight end dives in for the score. Haler comes on to convert. The kick is up and over, as Linn-Mar grows its lead to 31-0. Linn-Mar scores once more on a 43-yard toss from Driscoll to Sarsfield. And the Lion reserves, led by Ed Abadili, Corey Cooper, and Aaron Van Milligan, get plenty of playing time as the Lions go on to record an impressive 38-6 win. Without a doubt, a good old-fashioned take-'em-behind-the-barn licking, done with both bludgeon and scalpel. The M&M boys following tremendous blocking to each surpass 100 yards rushing. Driscoll spreading the touchdown wealth, firing scoring strikes to Sarsfield and Rice. And the defense again dominated. Washington closes the night with a mere 35 yards on the ground. Winning bitter rivalries means the victories are sweeter. But this one can only be savored briefly, because next up is Iowa City City High, away again. On October 12th, the Linn-Mar Lions return to Iowa City's Frank Bates Field to provide the homecoming opposition for the always tough City High Little Hawks. It was City High that only a year ago, and on this field, waylaid Linn-Mar in a 2-point thriller. It's the only Lion loss in the last 19 games. Coach Larry Brown's club currently stands at 4-2 and still very much in playoff contention. The Little Hawks are paced by shifty Dave Schmucker and a Dave Primack-led defense currently ranked 3rd in the Valley, a defense which has not allowed a sustained drive of over 50 yards all season, until tonight. It's a cold and blustery October night, but that doesn't deter over 5,000 fans out to celebrate the City High homecoming in hopes of seeing the Little Hawks once again bring down the high-flying Lions. But Coach Greg Purnell is having none of that, as he admonishes his charges just prior to game time.
In July, I get a phone call one morning. It's from out in New York. And I get some smart Easterner on the phone getting my permission and my comments about this game last year. And I've buried this since then. And her comment to me was this. She was a writer for the magazine 17. Hell, I didn't even know what 17 was. My daughter had to tell me. But this smart ass from the city of New York says to me, she says, Coach, we got to write about Iowa City kicking your butt a year ago. Let's go!
And when the Lions come back on the field, they're on a mission. For some, a 2-year mission, likely shared with the many Linn-Mar fans in attendance as well. The Lions get the ball first, and this second series run by Jason Malloy sets the tone of the game. It's worth a listen. Then on first down from the City High 35, Driscoll rolls right, looks downfield, and rifles to Rice, tight-roping the sideline at the 19. And just moments later, the Lions go to the air again. As against man-to-man coverage, Rubinow simply fades to the corner, where Driscoll lays it in perfectly for the score. Lions go up 6-0. Shane Haler comes on to grow the Lion lead, and that he does as the score mounts to 7-0 Linn-Mar. Now it's time to see if the defense came to play, and it doesn't take long to find out. Here on second down, quarterback Chris Hamdorf hands to Schmucker, who's promptly engulfed by Watts, Malloy, and Rubinow. Then viewed from the press box, it's Mulheron blowing through on a safety blitz to drop Hamdorf for a 10-yard loss. The remainder of the first half is penalty-plagued and error-filled, but it's also full of hitting, and not just by the defense. Here, get up close and personal with Mick Mulheron. Be a Little Hawk defensive back for 2 plays. But at the half, the scoreboard only shows Linn-Mar in front by a slim 7-0 margin. The Lions have dominated play, but the Little Hawks are still very much alive. The score will get closer. In the third quarter, Linn-Mar continues to move the ball with runs like this one, as Mick dodges and spins and then powers for 14 yards. And Driscoll keeps connected, here going to Rubinow for 16 yards. But the Lions also continue to turn the ball over, and a late third quarter fumble puts the Little Hawks in business at the Linn-Mar 25. From there on 3rd and 10, Schmucker goes in motion, Hamdorf rolls out right, starts to run, and then flips downfield to a receiver all alone at the Lion 8. From there on 1st and goal, the Little Hawks come back the other way. As Hanrahan motions left, Hamdorf follows him out, looks into the end zone, throws it up for grabs, and it's snatched out of the air with one hand by Hanrahan. A spectacular play, putting the Little Hawks on the board and soon tied with the Lions. But now it's the fourth quarter, the Lions quarter, and it's take charge time. On 1st and 10 from the Linn-Mar 41, here comes Mulheron behind Malloy, who blocks out, allowing Mick to cut upfield for 19 big yards. Now it's Malloy's turn, with Sarsfield, Mulheron, and Jeff Huber clearing the way for 8 more yards. 4 plays later, it's option time, as Mulheron takes the pitch, cuts up inside, and then powers forward inside the 20. Here comes Mick again. Not good news for a Little Hawk. The Lions drive to the Little Hawk 1, where it's 4th and 1. And from the press box, it's Hogs right, as Jason Malloy slices through, and the Lions regain the lead. Drobny snaps, Perry holds, and Haler boots to increase the Linn-Mar lead to 14-7. Immediately after the kickoff, City High attempts to go to the air. But here number 55, Eric Keating, bursts through to sack Hamdorf for a 5-yard loss. 2 plays later, it's too many passes as Josh Haight deflects to Malloy, who brings it back to the City High 31. The Little Hawks hold, but Shane Haler puts the game out of reach as he's right down the middle on this 33-yard field goal to put the Lions up 17-7. And that's how it will end, as the Lions win their 12th in a row and avenge their only loss in the last 20 games. City High coach Larry Brown said before this homecoming game that if you can't get excited about playing the top team in Iowa, you shouldn't be playing. Add up playing against number 1, a frenzied homecoming crowd, 5 Lion turnovers, 8 costly Linn-Mar penalties, and the Little Hawks have plenty of reason to be excited. But excitement doesn't score points, not against the Lions, who allow City High only 58 total yards on offense, just 3 first downs. And excitement doesn't prevent points either, at least not the critical ones. As Larry Brown is later to say, you can see in Linn-Mar what a champion does, and they look like champions in the fourth quarter, when they had to. Honestly said. And in losing, Coach Brown can be proud of his team. The narrowest margin of victory for the Lions this year, 10 points. But with the playoffs only 2 games away, it's unlikely the Lions can maintain that large a spread. Maybe. Perhaps. On October 19th, the undefeated Lions visit Kingston Stadium for the only time in 1990, as they're hosted by the always dangerous Cedar Rapids Jefferson Jayhawks. Jefferson, the toughest team the Lions faced in 1989, is mired in a 4-game mistake-plagued losing streak. And the Jayhawks would like nothing better than to end that streak by knocking off the state's top-ranked team. Averaging 229 yards on the ground, Jeff is paced by senior wishbone quarterback B.J. Calloway, son of Coach Bill Calloway. And as always, they feature one of the Valley's most physical defenses, led by senior linebacker Mark Zarodnik. Of course, there's physical, and then there's physical, as the Jayhawks will learn this evening. It all starts dead even at Kingston Stadium, where a fired-up Jayhawk player expresses his real feelings about the Lions. But now it's again time to stop talking and start playing, as Jefferson kicks off with a low squib fielded deep in the corner by Mulherron, who breaks away from one tackle and comes steaming up the sideline, banging off bodies on a 52-yard return. The Lions turn the ball over, but get it right back as here number 55, Eric Keating, pounces on this loose ball in Jayhawk territory. After a first down gained on the ground, the Lions go to the air. Here Driscoll play fakes, then fires downfield to Rubinow, who juggles and then pulls it in on the Jayhawk 16. And 3 plays later from the 4, it's Mulherron behind Drobny, Malloy, and Sarsfield, somersaulting in for the icebreaker as the Lions go up 6-0. The Lions stifled the Jayhawks on the next series, and on 3rd and long, Calloway again bobbles as Casey Mulherron scoops it up and struggles down to the Jeff 27. And 2 plays later from the 23, Mulherron motions back to the short side and frees Malloy, who puts the P in physical, leaving defenders strewn in his wake as he romps in for a 13-0 Lion lead. Early in the second quarter, the Lions drive to the Jeff 42. On first down, Driscoll options to the sideline, where Mulherron tightropes and then lowers his shoulder for a 15-yard pickup. And 5 plays later from the 10, Driscoll rolls right and slings into the end zone, where Rube lays out for a diving touchdown grab. Haler's kick is good, and the Lions lead 20-0. That's just fine with the Lion cheerleaders. Then Max Huffman's defense takes a turn as Malloy fires, forcing Calloway to throw hurriedly, and Rubinow steals it away at the Jayhawk 30. The Lions waste little time, as on second down, Drobny and Mulherron pick up the blitz as Sarsfield comes free across the middle and makes the first Jayhawk miss before being brought down at the Jeff 13. And 1 play later, it's option wide side as Driscoll pitches to Mulherron, who cuts inside Malloy and cruises in from 13 yards out. Up 26-0, the Lions are soon back in business on the Jeff 37. On third down, Driscoll drops back. The Jayhawks rush through, but it's a screen to Mulhern, who follows Haight, Reams, and Drobny as he ambles in for the Lions' 5th touchdown of the game. And now the same play from the Jefferson secondary's viewpoint.
Taking the screen pass is number 40, Mick Mulhern.
Shane Haler's conversion is good, and as the coaches make their way to the locker room at halftime, they're comforted with the commanding 33-0 lead. Jeff gets the ball back to start the half, but things haven't changed as juniors Matt Jones, Ira Marsh, and Eric Keating close down the off-tackle hold. Then it's Jones on a solo for another loss. And on third down, Watts fights through, the ball is loose, and Sean Rice surrounds it inside the Jefferson 20. Then on third down, Driscoll fades to throw, looks downfield, and finds Rice hooking up at the Jayhawk 9. And 3 plays later from the 1, it's Mulhern vaulting in over Drobny, Watts, Marsh, and Malloy as the Lions move up 39-0. On Jeff's next possession, Callaway goes up top, but senior Brian Maloney steps in front and the Lions again have good field position. 3 plays later from the Linn-Mar 47, Mulhern takes the ball on a delay, cuts behind Drobny and Huber, gets outside, stutter steps, and is finally pulled down at the Jayhawk 30. And on the next play, the M&M boys get a new addition, as here number 36, Casey Mulhern, slides outside, gets help from Haler, and stiff arms himself free as he roars in for a 30-yard Lion touchdown. Seconds later, Haler increases the Lions' lead to 46-0. From there, Coach Purnell turns the game over to the Lions' seconds. Jeff tallies 3 times in the 4th quarter, but the young Lions get on the board themselves, as here quarterback Matt Mitchell comes out left behind Corey Cooper and George Panache and lofts long to Jason Fedderson, lost behind the Jayhawk secondary. And moments later, time runs out, with the Lions coming away with a surprisingly easy 53-19 victory. Before the game, Jefferson coach Callaway observed that Linn-Mar could be one of the best teams ever to play in Iowa. He may wish to rethink one of the best, because his loss was less a defeat than a systematic dismantling by a Lion team getting it all together for the stretch drive. 5 Mulhern touchdowns, 1 by Casey. Scoring strikes to Rubinow and Fedderson. 33-0 at the half, with no Jayhawk first downs. And 46-0 when the bench is cleared. Dominating on both sides of the ball. Putting it together. Getting ready. The regular season ends for the Lions on October 26th as they put their undefeated record and number 1 ranking on the line at home against winless Iowa City West. Coach Dan Dickel's Trojans have nothing to lose and figure to reach deep into their bag of tricks in an effort to keep the explosive Linn-Mar offense off the field. The Lions, on the other hand, must cope with distractions. It's Parents' Night for the seniors, and it's the night the second season begins, with the 4A state playoff pairings to be announced near midnight. But those are excuses, and the Lions need none of those. They're out to win the Valley title outright and build momentum for the impending playoffs. That they will do. The Lions get the ball first, and on their opening play, it's Rice and Marsh freeing Malloy to the outside. Then it's a race to the end zone, and Jason will not be caught as he sprints in for 6. Perry holds and Haler boots it through, and the Lions lead 7-0. But then it's time for some Trojan razzle-dazzle as they split and stack 4 receivers to one side. Quarterback Jason Powers fires to Brad Scriver, who then passes on to Barbie for 14 yards to the Lion 42. Then the same play works to the other side as Scriver hits Chad Johnson, who carries down to the Linn-Mar 25. The Trojans move inside the 2, too close for the Lion defense. And it's big play time as Mick and Casey Mulherron combine to knock the ball loose, and Sparky Jr. John Stambaugh comes through with the end zone recovery. Early in the second quarter, the Lions prowl out to their own 39, where here on first down, Driscoll steps back and goes for the bundle, dropping the ball perfectly into a streaking Rubinow, who makes the catch and staggers forward to the Trojan 13. 2 plays later, it's Driscoll again, rolling right behind Mulherron and Malloy, then finding Rice in the corner as the Lions expand their lead to 13-0. And only moments later, the Lions have the ball back again. And here Ryan rolls right, spots Rube breaking free, lays it in, and the steady senior is off to the races on a 60-yard pass and run touchdown, which will come back on a penalty. But the Lions are undaunted, and on the very next play from their own 32, Driscoll drops straight back and locates Mulherron on the sideline, where he turns up and turns it on for 35 big yards. From the Trojan 43, Ryan rolls right, and with receivers covered, tucks it in and carries for another Lion first down. Then with second down from the West 28, Driscoll rolls right and tosses to Sean Rice, who makes a juggling catch and then drags 4 defenders to the Trojan 10. And from the 5, it's time to go up top again. Rubinow and Rice cross, but it's Sean that's open as he pulls in his second touchdown of the evening. Haler's conversion extends the Lion lead to 20-0, and that will be the halftime score. Late in the third quarter, the Trojans mount a drive, using more razzle-dazzle. One pass, then another, followed by a Matt Mitchell interception as the Lions take the ball back. Finally, early in the fourth quarter, the Linn-Mar regulars embark on one more drive. With 2nd and 9 from the West 39, Driscoll options right, fakes the pitch, and then cuts behind Haight and Huber back across the grain and all the way to the Trojan 21. After one more first down on the ground, Ryan goes to the air again, here looking to Sean Rice deep in the end zone, and the big tight end pirouettes to pull it down. Perry holds for Haler, and the senior drives it home as the Lions lead 27-0. And when the game ends, the Lions seconds are driving, as here Scott Blackford swerves outside with help from Kevin Brown, Matt Smith, and Bruce Lent, and zips all the way to the Trojan 5. The final score, Linn-Mar 27, Iowa City West, nothing. A solid win, exemplifying what the Lions have done best all year, starting with offensive creativity and diversity. Almost equal yards passing and rushing. No way to stack a defense. No way to stop it all. And on defense, a shutout, but a hard-earned one requiring Max Huffman's adjustments off the field and Lion execution on. A big night for Driscoll and Rice, 3 touchdowns, and a 4th going to Malloy as he garners 139 rushing yards for the evening. And a big night for the whole Linn-Mar team. Everyone seeing action in the season's final regular season game. Jeff Schuster and Eric George, Abadili, Mikola, and Gilchrist, all contributing in the game that gives the Lions the outright Valley title with a perfect 9-0 record. An accomplishment to be celebrated and enjoyed. Briefly, because at midnight tonight, everyone on the Lion team and their coaches will be somewhere within listening distance of a radio, where at the stroke will come the announcement of the first round state playoff pairings. And when that news comes, it's unfortunate news for the Valley. 4 teams, Linn-Mar, Kennedy, Wahlert, and City High, make the final 16. But the emphasis on geography in determining opening round matchups dictates that the league's top 2 teams, Linn-Mar and Kennedy, must go head-to-head again in just 5 days. On Halloween night, all the Lions and Cougars come out to play. And most of Cedar Rapids and Marion will be there to watch as Linn-Mar once again plays host to number 7 ranked Cedar Rapids Kennedy, which finished the regular season with an 8-1 mark, their best ever. Much has been made over the fact that the Cougars' lone loss was to Linn-Mar in the 2nd game of the season. a game which was tied after 3 quarters. And it's been duly noted that Kennedy is not the same team it was in early September, when the Lions stuffed the Cougar ground game and found their passing game non-existent. That's because of the addition of multi-sport standout Chad Weiss, a latecomer who's come on to lead the Valley in passing percentage. His favorite target is Brad Muskimin, the Valley's leading receiver and a future All-Stater. With the passing game clicking, the running lanes have opened up for 100-yard-per-game rusher Joe Garino, also a future All-Stater. And the Cougars still have the Valley's largest defensive front, anchored by yet another All-Stater, 290-pound nose guard Jamie Parker, outweighing Linn-Mar's senior center Eric Drobny by more than 100 pounds. But the Lions can boast some impressive numbers as well. As a team, they lead the Valley in total offense and total defense. Driscoll has passed for over 1,300 yards and 14 touchdowns. Rubinow and Rice have 50 receptions between them. And the M&M boys have rushed and blocked for nearly 1,600 yards. But all those are the numbers that got the two teams here. At the end of this Halloween, it will be the numbers on the scoreboard that spell out which team has been tricked and which team will be treated with a trip to the 4A quarterfinals. A record crowd of over 5,000 fans squeezes into Armstrong Field as the Linn-Mar band swings into the Linn-Mar fight song to fire up the Lion fans and the Lions. But Kennedy's fired up too, and they prove it early on, as here on the opening kickoff, speedster Joe Garino gathers the ball in at the 5, sets sail upfield, eludes Haler, and then it's a foot race past the jubilant Kennedy grandstand, won by Garino as the Cougars draw first blood. But the Lions don't let that lead last, as late in the quarter they launch a drive from their own 41. Here Driscoll drops back and picks out Rubinow, who latches on for a Lion first down. Then Ryan looks to Rube again, and the feisty senior makes this leaping grab for a first down on the Cougar 27. From there, Mark Ehlers tries something new, flanking Mulherron to the wide side. Driscoll comes right, shielded by Huber and Sarsfield, and fires long downfield, where Mick roams free in the back of the end zone. With the Lions down 7-6, the defense stifles the Cougars, and the offense returns to begin another drive, this time from the Lions 17. On first down, Driscoll bootlegs right and rifles to a leaping Rice, who turns upfield and provides Cougars free rides out to the Lion 40. After a first down acquired on the ground, the pitch goes to Mulherron, who cuts off Malloy's block, gets help from Rube, and drives forward for 15 yards. And moments later from the Cougar 6, Driscoll straightens up, flips out to Mulherron, who gets the block he needs from Rubinow and takes it in for a 12-7 Lion lead. After a poor center snap on a Cougar punt, the Lions are back on the attack again, this time starting from the Cougar 42. From there, Driscoll moves left and delivers downfield, where Mulherron has beaten double coverage and cruises in to give the Lions an 18-7 lead. However, the Cougars get back in the game right before the half on a Weiss to Muskimin dart. As the teams go to the locker room at halftime, Linn-Mar clings to a precarious 18-13 lead. But as captains Malloy, Baker, Watson, Mulherron prepare to start the second half, the Lions return team readies a momentum builder. The Cougars kick deep. Mulherron fields at the 15, waits for the wedge, and then explodes through all the way out to the Lion 36. Minutes later, after a 15-yard penalty, it's play action, as Ryan rolls right and lays it out long to Rube, who brings it down for 32 yards and a Lion first down. Then on second down, Sarsfield gets the call as Eric Drobny pancakes Parker and Chad slides back outside for 14 yards to the Cougar 31. And from there, Watts pulls as Driscoll pitches left to Mulherrin, who cuts it up, then simply blazes past the last lonely Kennedy defender en route to his 4th touchdown of the game as Linn-Mar goes up 24-13. Then the Lions go for 2, and Mark Ehlers calls for misdirection as it's student body right, except for Mulherrin, standing alone and stepping in for the 26 point. Kennedy still can't move against the Lions' rugged defense and are forced to give the ball back. With 2nd and long from the Linn-Mar 20, Driscoll steps straight back and Rubinow comes clear in the middle for a 17-yard pickup. Later on 3rd and 9, Driscoll drops, flips to Mick, who bounces off tacklers and then goes airborne to pick up a drive-sustaining first down. 2 plays later, it's Malloy behind Drobny and Reams, powering for another Lion first down. And as the quarter ends, the Lions are firmly in top, 26-13, and soon to up their lead. For on 3rd and goal from the Cougar 3, the Lions look to Malloy, who tucks in behind Watts and wedges in for the score. Shane Haler drives the extra point home, and the Lions pad their lead to 33-13. The Lions get 4th quarter interceptions from juniors Ira Marsh and Matt Mitchell, and the reserves keep up the pressure as here Lion senior Corey Clausen records the sack. Kennedy tallies late on a Weiss to Muskemon missile, but time runs out on the Cougars as the Lions maintain a comfortable lead and come away with an impressive 33-21 victory. If the pregame prognosticators had been told that the massive Kennedy team would tally 21 points, and in the same game the Lions would amass 117 yards in penalties, many would have divined a Cougar victory. But that would have been discounting Max Huffman's dogged defense, limiting Kennedy to 30 yards on the ground, and toughest at the toughest times. And they couldn't have known about offensive coordinator Mark Ehlers' new twist. Mulherrin at flanker, converting 3 passes for touchdowns and running for a 4th just for good measure. Of course, Malloy going over 100 yards could be expected. He's been a good bet all year, as has Driscoll, 180 yards in the air, completing nearly 70% of his passes. Add it all up, and it totals 33 points, and an easier win than the scoreboard indicates, which will mean nothing to the next playoff foe, upset-minded Dubuque Wahlert. Once again, there will be a Valley winner and a Valley loser. Despite the fact that Wahlert is unranked, the Lions, now riding a 15-game winning streak, must venture onto the home turf of the Golden Eagles for their quarterfinal round playoff encounter. Wahlert, which tied for 3rd in the Valley, is coming off an exciting come-from-behind 23-20 thriller over Waterloo West, champions of the Big 8 Conference. The Golden Eagles features Eric Metz, the Valley's 2nd leading rusher, running behind massive 300-pounder Brett Blocklinger. Wahlert figures to be pumped. They're at home. They're underdogs. And they've always had the character born of a winning tradition. But there are 47 Lions who've also been taught the ways of winning and have no need to learn how to lose. Immediately prior to the flip of the coin, game captain Shane Haler moves to the sideline. And in a matter of moments, he's joined by the remainder of the Lion squad, kept under wraps by special teams coach Herb Anderson. When the captains meet in the center of the field, Wahlert wins the toss and elects to receive. And it doesn't take the Golden Eagles long to break a big one, as here on 3rd down, quarterback Brian Howes spies tight end Andy Pettigrew, splitting the seam for a Wahlert first down. Wahlert continues to move downfield, but the Lion defense stiffens, forcing the Golden Eagles into a 4th down situation. Here Howes half rolls and pitches perfectly to Pettigrew, who falls forward and in for 6. With 6.5 minutes remaining in the quarter, Wahlert steps out to a 7-0 lead. Wahlert then attempts to avoid Mulherrin by squib kicking, but junior wingback Ira Marsh foils the strategy, returning to the Lion 47. 2 plays later, Malloy explodes outside behind Mulherrin and Haight and rambles all the way to the Wahlert 24. And with 3rd and 6, Driscoll options left to Mulherrin. Watts buries his man, Rube cracks back, Mick gets one-on-one, and it's no contest as he carries tacklers into the end zone. Moments later, Perry holds and Haler boots it through to square the score at 7-7. Still in the first quarter, the Lions go on the prowl again. Here from the Golden Eagle 47, Mulherrin sweeps behind Huber and Rowe and stiff arms his way inside the Wahlert 35. 4 plays later from the 15, Sarsfield comes in motion. Driscoll rolls and finds a wide-open Mulherrin who shrugs off a tackler for a Lion first down. And moments later from the 3, Haight and Feddersen cave in the right side and Malloy caves in a safety as he surges in for 6, and the Lions go up 14-7. Linn-Mar's defense again puts a halt to Wahlert, and midway through the second quarter, the Lions begin another drive. With 3rd down on the 31, Driscoll rolls right, and Sarsfield sets him free to find tight end Sean Rice for a 27-yard gain. And only moments later from the Golden Eagle 13, Driscoll rolls right again as Rice slips free and wide open for this touchdown toss to make it 20-7 Linn-Mar. That will be the halftime score. In the third quarter, the Lion defense dominates. Here it's Haight and Casey. Then Watts and Jones team up for this loss. And in the fourth quarter, the first offense takes the field for one final drive. Here Sarsfield motions back, Driscoll drops, finds Mulherrin fast, and then it's make 'em miss time as Mick picks up 19 yards. On the very next play, Driscoll drops back, sets up in the pocket, and fires to Rubinow, who takes it at the 20 and turns upfield for 14 more yards to the Golden Eagles 6. And 2 plays later, it's Driscoll to Rubinow again as Ryan rolls right and the KG senior finds a wide open spot for the score. Haler's extra point is good, and the Lions increase their lead to 27-7. And there's still plenty of time left for the Lions, as here number 30, Scott Blackford, follows Haler's block and won't be brought down until he clicks off 20 yards. Here Brent McDonald drives forward behind Jeff Broughton and George Panache. And McDonald is a force on defense as well, as here his fumble recovery thwarts the Golden Eagles. The Lions run out the clock to record their 16th straight win in convincing 27-15 fashion. When you wound a Lion, expect a response. And tonight's response is 3 touchdowns in the first 3 Linn-Mar possessions against the Valley's second-ranked defense. 2 touchdown passes by Driscoll, rushing touchdowns by both the M&M boys, and a Jeff Watts-led defense that limits the Golden Eagles to 130 yards after the game-opening drive, with 57 of those coming late in the game. Coach Mike Cooper is later to say, "We just couldn't stop them. We came in knowing that if they executed well, they had too diversified an attack. They just took it to us. 2 down, 2 to go. Next, an expected Saturday matchup with number 3 rated Davenport Assumption, champions of the Mississippi Athletic Conference. That's what the experts say. But Pleasant Valley will have something to say about that." When the Linn-Mar Lions host the number 8 ranked Pleasant Valley Spartans in the 4A semifinals on Saturday, November 10th, they figure to be facing a team and a program remarkably similar to their own. In 1985, when the Lions were capturing their first 4A title, the Spartans were annexing the state 3A crown. Jumping up a class to 4A in '86, Pleasant Valley remains one of the state's smallest 4A schools, with Linn-Mar only slightly larger. Losers only to 3rd-ranked Davenport Assumption during the regular season, the Spartans rebounded using a big play offense and opportunistic defense to upset Assumption 21-17 in the quarterfinals. Offensively, the Spartans are paced by cat-quick option quarterback Steve Linn-Mar, hard-driving 205-pound tailback Randy Lyons, and dangerous outside threat Shreve Cavus. Defensively, the anchor is number 33, linebacker Rusty Van Wetzinga, highly touted by Coach Ed Morrissey as a natural because of his toughness. Yes, the little big men, as they are called by the Des Moines Register, figure to test the Lions. For the first time all year, Linn-Mar will be the largest, thus perhaps not the quickest, team on the field. Which prompts the question, will Pleasant Valley be able to out Linn-Mar? Or is there still only one Linn-Mar, with the pretender soon to be dispatched? It will take only a half to learn the answer. It's a beautiful day for football in Marion as Coach Purnell turns the Lions loose. And soon it's game time as Pleasant Valley kicks off deep to Malloy on the 15, and back he comes only to be barely tripped up at the Lion 37. 3 plays later, the Lions face 4th and inches. Coach Ehlers makes the call, and it's punt formation. But it's a fake as Jason Malloy drives forward for a Lion first down. Then on 3rd down, Driscoll drops back. Mulherrin filters through, makes the catch, and turns it up, spinning out of bounds for another Lion first down. On 1st down from the Spartan 32, it's Malloy up the middle behind Rowe, Drobny, and Huber, blasting for another first down on the 21. 3 plays later, it's Malloy again, this time following Watts, Rice, and Mulherrin as he carries inside the Spartan 2. And finally, the Lions shift into Hogs right, power right, as everyone right leads Jason in for the score, and the Lions take a 6-0 lead. The Lion defense establishes itself early, as here Casey Mulherrin plugs the hole and drops Van Wetzinga for no gain. A short punt gives the Lions good field position at midfield, and on 1st down, wingback Sarsfield counters back behind Aaron Strong, gets outside, and then heads down the sideline before finally being brought down at the Pleasant Valley 25. From there on 2nd down, Driscoll options to Mulherrin, who follows Malloy in, then out, and finally drives for the first down at the Spartan 12. And 3 plays later, it's Malloy in easily behind Rowe, Watts, and Mulherrin, and Linn-Mar goes up 12-0. The Lions go for 2, and this time years of pip drill pay off as Driscoll's pass is batted up and caught by a diving Rubinow in the back of the end zone, as the Lions increase their lead to 14-0. Early in the 2nd quarter, the Lions stop a Spartan drive and take over deep in their own territory. With 2nd and 7 from the 23, Mick Mulherrin makes one of the most impressive runs of this or any other season. See it and hear it. And part of it once more in slow motion. "77 yards for 6, and Haler's conversion makes it 21-0, still early in the 2nd quarter. But Pleasant Valley didn't get to the state semifinals by laying down. The Giant Killers come right back with a drive that carries to the Lion 38. But on 4th and inches, Casey Mulherrin sniffs out the option and stops the Spartan drive. Not for long, however, as Pleasant Valley soon has the ball back. From the Spartan 29, quarterback Linn-Mar options right, finds a crease, then gets outside, and then it's a foot race as the talented senior sprints down the sideline and in for a 71-yard score. But on the conversion, Jeff Watts storms up the middle to keep the score 21-6, Linn-Mar. But the Lions still have time to score and to reestablish who's in charge. That doesn't take long, as from the Linn-Mar 35, Jason Malloy cuts behind Watts, Mulhern, and Drobny, then drives through tacklers all the way to the Spartan 44. 3 plays later, it's Mulhern barreling up the middle for another first down at the Pleasant Valley 16. And finally, from inside the 5, it's Malloy behind Hogg's left as he adds 6 more points to the Lions' lead. Shane Haler's conversion makes the score 28-6, and that's the way the half will end. An exciting half, but still with much to come. The Lions, who hardly need it, get the first break of the second half as Linn-Mar goes back to throw, but it's batted up by Jeff Watts and finally pulled out of the air by Jason Malloy at the Spartan 44. On first down, Driscoll fires to a sliding Rubinow for 11 yards. Watch right tackle Josh Haight clear the way as Jason Malloy rambles for 12 more big yards. And with first down from the 23, offensive coordinator Mark Ehlers calls for an option. Driscoll pitches perfectly, Mulhern gets head up, and it's all over as the senior takes it in for the 5th Lions score. And with Haler's conversion, the Lions lead 35-6 with 8 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The teams exchange punts, and with just over a minute remaining in the third quarter, Pleasant Valley Lightning strikes. With first down from his own 25, Linn-Mar drops, hits Sam Starr on a slant, and as both Lion defenders slip down, Starr squeezes by into the clear and holds off pursuers on a 75-yard pass and run touchdown. As the teams exchange ends to begin the final quarter, the Lions hold a commanding 35-12 lead as Coach Greg Purnell sends the regulars back in for what he expects will be their final opportunity of the afternoon. With 3rd and 7 from his own 33, Driscoll fakes to Mulhern, then rolls right behind Reams and Sarsfield and finds Rubinow on a crossing pattern inside Spartan territory. Then Driscoll reveals his other side as Harry options right behind Jones, steps through a tackle, and carries forward for 13 yards. 3 plays later from the Spartan 17, Driscoll comes back left. Rubinow clears with Rice right behind, and Sean takes it to the 2. Where on 1st and goal, Haight and Feddersen open a big hole, and Malloy crashes through to up the Lion lead. Haler comes in for the conversion, Perry holds, and Shane hits it perfectly as the Lions move out to a 42-12 advantage with just over 10 minutes remaining. Pleasant Valley tallies twice late against the Lion reserves, but the regulars come back to set up a Haler field goal, and when time expires, Linn-Mar has recorded yet another victory. It's 17th in a row. Though the game ends with the score 45-26, that is not indicative of the game or the way it's been played. The Spartans are talented, with special skill in the special skill positions. But the Lions have even more skill, plus a line that's dominated all year, even when outweighed by 15, 20, or 40 pounds per man. Against the smaller Spartans, Watts and Haight, Rowe, Reams, and Drobny have a field day. And the Lions move the ball just as well behind Jones, Nedelicki, Huber, and Strong. Malloy chalks up 115 yards and 3 scores. Mulhern 108 yards on the ground, and another 144 via the airways. Driscoll is never knocked down as he passes for over 200 yards. Not quite no contest, but certainly an indication that the tempering the Lions have received playing 11 straight weeks against Mississippi Valley Conference foes has prepared them well to face anyone. Pleasant Valley, certainly. And now next, Newton. A convincing 35-20 winner over previously undefeated West Des Moines Valley. And the fact is, had the powers that be in Boone eliminated the playoffs and simply ordered up the most potentially exciting matchup, this is likely what it would have been. The dominating ground game of the number 4 ranked Newton Cardinals versus the explosive diversified attack of top-ranked Linn-Mar. Both averaged 388 yards per game in the regular season and led their conferences in defense. The Cardinals are paced by number 24, running back Tony Arrowwood, the state's leading rusher, coming into the title game having rushed for 1,695 yards and 24 touchdowns. But Arrowwood is not a one-man ground attack band. Out of the cocked bone, halfback Doug Messick has totaled 726 yards and 11 TDs, including 3 in the semifinal win over Dowling. And even a third rusher, fullback Brian Kirchhoff, has picked up 786 yards on the ground. And Coach John Jenkins employs a 2-platoon system, taking advantage of his numbers in order to keep players fresh. Likely little advantage on a cold November afternoon, but in the 70-degree temperature-controlled Unidome, perhaps a factor, particularly in the fourth quarter, which up to now, the Lions have owned. Of course, Linn-Mar comes into the title tilt with a few weapons of its own. The M&M boys both well over 1,000 yards rushing. Driscoll well over 1,800 yards through the air. Rubinell, Mulhern, and Rice all over 30 receptions. Impressive numbers. And there are 2 more. 24 seniors committed to putting state championships back to back, and 23 juniors who've never lost a football game in their high school careers, and all important to the Linn-Mar effort. Also important to that effort is the unparalleled support the Lions receive from parents, fans, and the Linn-Mar students. It starts on Wednesday with a steak dinner provided and served by the football moms and dads. And then on Thursday, it's tradition. For the 13th week in a row, it's carbohydrate time. Spaghetti at Mom Blackman's. And later that night, back at the Linn-Mar gym, parents, students, and fans from all over Marion join for a show of community support, led by the irrepressible Dr. Victor. And finally, early Friday afternoon, it's the Linn-Mar senior high students, the junior high students, and some special mamas and papas giving the Lions a very special send-off. And the team has its own very special response. A fun time, a time for expression, a time for a show of support and commitment. And now it's time to go play a football game. Within an hour, a pride of Lions exits the Linn-Mar campus. And 4 hours later, greeted by 7,000 Lion fans, that same pride, ready for battle, enters the Unidome. Tonight, wearing white. It's only moments away from the start of the Iowa 4A state championship game. Here come the Lions. And moments later, it's game time, as Newton attempts to avoid Mulherron by kicking low, and it works, as Ira Marsh covers at the Lion 23. But just 2 plays later, Sarsfield motions into the sideline, Malloy starts inside, then breaks off Reams and Watts, gets a screen from Rube, and he's loose outside and on his way to a 29-yard pickup. On 2nd and 10, Haight, Rowe, and Drobny fire off the ball, and Mick follows behind for another Lion first down. And after another first down earned on the ground, Sarsfield motions back, Driscoll fakes to Malloy, and then finds Rubinow running free on a corner route as the Lions take an early 6-0 lead over the Cardinals. Shane Haler comes on, and his conversion increases the Linn-Mar lead to 7-0. But now Newton gets the ball, and from the Cardinal 37, John Henry pitches back to Arrowwood. The play is blocked perfectly. Mulherron misses, and it's off to the races as the senior speedster blazes down the sideline for 63 yards and a Cardinal touchdown. And moments later, the score is tied 7-7. But now it's the Lions' turn again. On the previous kickoff, the Cardinals had avoided Mulherron, but now they're fired up. Now they'll challenge him. Once. The Newton kicker moves forward, and the ball sails to the 15, where Mick gathers it in, bursts straight up the middle, shakes off a face mask tackle, and gets loose to the outside and down the sideline all the way to the Cardinal 21. And moments later, with 3rd and 4 from the Cardinal 5, Driscoll comes down the line, cuts up, and finally around the last defender on a nifty scoring effort as the Lions go back on top, 14-7. But here comes Newton again, and with Josh Haight already down with a knee injury, on this play, Chad Rubinow will go down with an ankle. He'll not return, which means backups on both sides of the ball must step in and perform. The Lion defense stiffens, but Newton goes away from the book, as here Henry fakes, then bootlegs back, fooling the Lions secondary and giving the Cardinals a big first down on the Linn-Mar 23. And just 3 plays later from the 1, Doug Messick crashes in as the Cardinals cave in the entire Lion right side. Newton goes for the tie, but Jeff Watts will have none of it as he blasts up the middle and spikes the Cardinal conversion. And as the teams get ready to start the second period, 2 of the top defensive teams in the state are giving up more than a point a minute in a 14-13 offensive shootout. Newton holds the Lions, but Haler pins the Cardinals deep in their own territory. Briefly, because here comes number 24 again, as the guard kicks out Stambaugh and Mulherrin gets clipped on the 30, allowing Arrowwood to break free and sprint 81 yards down the sideline in front of 6,000 frenzied Cardinal fans. The Lions turn back the two-point conversion try, and with just under 9 minutes remaining, Linn-Mar trails for the first time. But 9 minutes is plenty of time for the potent Lion attack. In fact, just 3 plays after the kickoff, the Lions change the score. On 3rd and 2 from the Linn-Mar 47, Malloy cuts inside Mulherrin, squeezes between Jones and Sarsfield, and turns it on, stepping out of the last tackle at the 10 and easing on in to put the Lions back in front. Chris Perry holds for Haler, and the senior drives it through. It's his 3rd in a row. But the Lions haven't stopped Newton yet, and quickly the Cardinals are back on the Linn-Mar 45. But it's 4th and almost 2. Arrowwood time. But not this time, as juniors Ira Marsh and Eric Keating make the big hit, and the Lions take over. The Lions mount one more drive, but time runs out before they can add points to the scoreboard. At the half, Linn-Mar clings to a precarious 21-19 lead. A surprising score, not its closeness, but the numbers, which means much of the halftime changes and halftime teaching will be in the hands of defensive coordinators. For the Lions, that means Max Huffman, which is cause for confidence by Coach Greg Purnell, who's otherwise occupied, if only briefly, during this halftime.
We'd like to introduce our football coach, Hall of Fame inductees at this time. First of all, from Linn-Mar area,
Moments later, the Lions return to the question which must soon be answered. Can the Lions stop Newton? Can the Lions shut down Tony Arrowwood? They'll have their chance because Newton gets the ball first. Newton drives early, each time converting on 3rd down. But here on their third down, it's Arrowwood against Malloy. And the Lions All-Stater wins. Big. The teams exchange punts, and Newton threatens again at the Lion 44. On 3rd down, they go to Arrowwood, but Mulherrin plugs the hole, and Sarsfield and Malloy keep it plugged, which brings up 4th and 3 from the 36. Maybe the biggest play of the game. Henry calls signals, and again it's the second back through, but met by Marsh and Watts. And again, the Lions deny the Cardinals. The Lions take over, and if their 4th down stand was the biggest play of the game so far, there's another coming up, because it's 3rd and long for the Lions, who've yet to prove they can drive in the second half. A familiar play has been called, probably a well-scouted play. Driscoll drops, Mulherrin slips out, and then blasts through tacklers to pick up a Lion 1st down at the 46. In slow motion, see contact made 4 yards short of the 1st down. But 4 yards short doesn't work for Mick Mulherrin. Later in the drive, it's 2nd and 9 from the Cardinal 35. Sarsfield motions back. Driscoll comes out and finds Steve Mahacek, whose precise pattern frees him to the Newton 25. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. Now it's the 4th. Time once again for the Lions to hunt. And that they do, quickly and cleverly, as Driscoll drops back, fakes to main weapon Mulherrin, and then leads junior Matt Mitchell perfectly with a 26-yard scoring strike. Haler comes on for his 4th in a row, and it's 28-19 Lions. On the ensuing kickoff, Nedelicki sets the specialty team, and Haler squibs to the 15, where George Panache, Bruce Linth, and Jeff Huber combine on the stop. After being stuffed by Watts on 1st down, Henry goes back to pass on 2nd. But here comes Phil Katz's boys, Casey and Keating, and then it's Watts and Jones for the kill. 2 plays later, Henry pitches quick to Messick, who's drilled by Malloy, Reams, and Mulherrin. The ball comes loose, and Rice is right there for the recovery. On first down from the Newton 39, Driscoll hands to Malloy, who fights forward for 14 behind Drobny, Rowe, and Mulherron. Moments later, Malloy gets outside for a first down following Haight, Sarsfield, and Mulherron. And then Driscoll makes one of his few ill-advised plays of the year as he underthrows Mahacek, and it's picked off at the Cardinal 1. But now the Cardinals have 99 yards to go, and this half they can't run, so they attempt to pass. But Matt Jones is in Henry's face, and senior Chris Perry is right there, looks it over, and then heads to daylight behind a wall of Lion blockers, on his way for his first varsity touchdown. Perry stays on to hold for Haler, and Shane nails his 5th straight to tie a playoff record as the Lions extend their lead. Newton tries to come back, but there's little time, so they have to throw. And the Lions, like the hunters they are, await their prey. Henry drops back, lost at left, but Mick Mulherron swoops in, joins up with Casey, and then heads for pay dirt and a 54-yard Lion touchdown. Shane Haler comes out to try for a playoff record 6th extra point. The senior draws nothing but net, and it's 42-19, Linn-Mar. The Lions reclaim the ball with just under 3 minutes remaining. The bench is cleared. The coaches come down from the press box. The fans are off their seats. And as time runs down, the team prepares to celebrate. And although the seniors have been here before, they know that somehow this is different and much more special, because it's all theirs, their time, and their moment in time. Yes, one moment in time, one magical moment in time, earned through a season full of magic moments. This Lion team will be remembered as not only Iowa's 4A state football champion, but also the most successful team in Linn-Mar history. And likely, very likely, the finest team ever to play in the state of Iowa. A 13-0 record, 25 of their last 26, and 50 out of 54 for the seniors. At season end, ranked 23rd in the nation by USA Today. Honors abound for many. Coach Greg Purnell is again 4A State, Valley, and Metro Coach of the Year. and inducted into the Iowa Football Coaches Hall of Fame. 6 Lions, Mulhern and Malloy, Driscoll and Watts, Rowe and Rice, named All-State. Joined by Haight, Rubinow, and Sarsfield on the All-Mississippi Valley Conference squad, and deserving seniors Eric Drobny and Shane Haler, All-Metro. Recognition for some, willingly earned by all. For such is the way of Linn-Mar football. And so the sun sets on an extraordinary season, but the reign continues. The reign of the Linn-Mar Lions, truly entitled to say, we are the champions.
We are the champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting till the end. We are the champions, we are the champions, no time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of the world. I've taken my bows and my curtain calls. You brought me fame and fortune and everything that goes with it. I thank you all, but it's been no bed of roses.